We decided to pull our top moments from 2023 for the Phillies. It's hard to pick just a few because so much happened, and it's such a long season that you almost forget about moments like that one with the way that everybody was crying that night for multiple reasons, for Nick, for Michael, for everybody, Weston. So Jamie and I picked our top moments as well. Tyler has a couple too. He will chime in with, because we're gonna run through this, guys. We're gonna run through this in our final part of the show. Top moments of 2023 for the Phillies. Jamie, what is your number 3 top moment?
My number 3 top moment was just awesome. He's half man, half machine. Bryce Harper returning as early as he did from the Tommy John surgery. You knew he wasn't going to be playing the field for a while. It didn't matter. Just getting him back was a shot of adrenaline that this team needed. So Bryce's return was my number 3.
All right, well, mine is the same.
Well, I mean, it was pretty damn exciting. You don't have to feel bad about it.
No, we didn't talk about this beforehand, but mine is literally the same. 160 days after surgery, returning. And what I loved about that moment is a couple things. So at the time, I was actually down at the ballpark covering the Phillies a lot, and seeing just, especially pregame, all of the questions that we were all asking Rob questions about Bryce's return. When's he going to return? How's he going to return? We also were seeing Bryce starting to get that first base practice. So he was getting all the reps in at first base. And I remember taking videos of Bryce on my phone, like, he's at first base, and being excited because I'm like, what's this going to bring? So all the anticipation of when will he return? How will he return? What type of Bryce are we going to get back? And then, of course, I felt like Bryce's return was really the start of a snowball effect of so many things. You think about the start of the season for the Phillies, awful start, dug themselves in a hole, bad for a lot of different reasons, but it felt like that was one of those turning points for the Phillies where you really saw the clubhouse and the fans and everything just kind of lifted up, because it's Bryce, it's your guy, it's the guy that's back.
Matt Deckard says, was that his first game when he dove into the camera section? I think it was his first series. I don't know about the first game, but it was very early on, and you kind of had that moment of like, oh damn, like he's gonna be able to play first base without a problem. Like he was automatically right away better than Rhys Hoskins at first base. And it was like, damn, this guy is really a baseball freak.
But it was also that moment where it's like, okay, he's not thinking about it. And we need to stop thinking about the surgery and stuff too, because sometimes you see athletes come back, they're a little bit more hesitant and gingerly playing. But Bryce Harper in that play was like, no.
I think that was down in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Whatever it was.
I think so. He's back, and he's the surgery and recovery is all a thing of the past, and we've got first base Bryce Harper to look forward to. So that is definitely both our number 3s. Listen, Jamie and I, although we may have been apart for a few days, we are still on the same wavelength with number 3. I don't think we're going to have the same for our next 2, though. What is your number 2, Jamie?
My number 2 was kind of all encompassing of what John was just talking about. When Orion Kerkering's debut happened at the ballpark, and the dad's crying, like the emotion of that moment I just thought was so cool. And Orion's going to be a big part of this team for a long time, and you'll always hopefully he becomes one of the premier closers in baseball, and NBC Sports Philly will always have that cut to go back to of like, remember Orion's debut in Philadelphia? Well, his father sure does. And just being like a dad and like putting yourself in his shoes, like that had to be like, obviously top day of his life. So it was just really cool moment that I'll remember fondly.
Yeah, and it's a moment that regardless of, who you're a fan of, as a parent, as a family person, you can appreciate the emotions that Todd had seeing his son. And then also like learning about their family, Richard Todd and Orion, like the history of like their family and their story. It just made you more emotional because you're invested in now the Kerkerings. That is a good one. I'm going to go with another emotion. Remember where you were sitting watching the Phillies play on August 4th. We've talked so much about August 4th and the Trey Turner standing ovation. Another moment, in my opinion, that was a huge turning point that really platooned Trey's game, but also the Phillies, because it was a moment where, and also for Philly sports fans, we were seen in a whole different light. It was in that moment people were like, all right, Philly sports fans aren't all bad. Trey was struggling. As we know, coming into that series, he had a 6.79 OPS. He was having a tough start to the season. After signing an 11-year, $300 million contract, we were all like, when are we going to see the Trey Turner that we were hoping that would come in and be a big addition to give us some good at-bats? Well, it was when he stepped at bat it was actually a loss to the Royals that he got that standing ovation. But then after that moment, when Trey Turner, the emotions of just having that time with Citizens Bank Park on their feet, cheering you on, the very next game, he crushed a 3-run homer, and that was huge. And at the time, the Phillies were down to Kansas City. That put them ahead. And then also in the next 3 games, he hit 4 homers. And Trey Turner, still looking back on that, has talked about how that was a moment that really helped him out, but even for the team helped them out. That Philly sports fans can be behind you and support you. We don't just boo you. We're going to give you the real, but we can also support you as well when we know that you need that extra boost. You're coming into a team, trying to find your way, and from there on, the Phillies actually had a 17-10 record in August, and just a lot seemed to go right from that moment. That was the moment we started to also start talking about them as a postseason team to keep an eye on, a team that's...
Yeah, because Trey was that important, so his lack of production was kind of killing the team. So, you got to add a real Trey Turner, in August and September for the final run, and, you got Bryce back before that. So they got several moments of, adrenaline shots in season, which you need on such a long season.
I was going to say the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. It is such a long season, and there's so many ups and downs, and we critique every game and want to follow every game, expecting you to be always at your best. And sometimes you just need that extra boost. And the extra boost was a standing ovation that Trey had. And I know Matt is saying in the chat, Jamie.
I did kind of start it, even though others take claims for it. I opened up a midday show at 97.5 The Fanatic about 2 weeks before it took off. So, I might have thrown... Because I was doing a show with Andrew Salchunas, and I went, what if we just go George Costanza opposite day? I was like, instead of booing the guy, he's here for 11 more years. Let's get behind him. Let's do the opposite. Let's give him the ovation. And, I may have started it that others, got credit for, and that's fine. I'm not sour about it at all.
It's fine. I mean, he was 1 for 4 on that night, and then that game helped boost his average to 252.
But the team talked about it too, outside of just him. Like,
exactly.
Castellanos was like, I borderline kind of emotional, like, that was cool because we know they got our backs.
Exactly.
And it wasn't just Trey specific. It did a lot for the team, I think.
Yeah, so thank you for suggesting that,
welcome.
Jamie, because it was a big boost for the team to see that, okay, as much as we hold people accountable here in Philly, we also can help encourage you when needed. All right, number 3. Or number 1, excuse me.
Yes, that was number 2.
Math.
Number 1 for me is not Michael Lorenzen's no-hitter because he means nothing to me. He's not going to be here. Bye, Michael.
I will say, I'm sorry to cut you off. Michael Lorenzen's no-hitter, much like anything that happened in the NLCS, in my opinion, did not age well. So I can't be excited about that as a positive moment because I'm also looking at what happened after. And for Michael Lorenzen, there weren't many positives after that no-hitter.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with a moment I got to witness in stadium. And I think it's the loudest I've heard Citizens Bank Park, I want to say. And that was when Bryson Stott absolutely buggy whipped a grand slam in the playoffs. I think it was October 4th, if I'm not mistaken. That was wild. Just an absolutely electric moment. And it was kind of, I know how it ended, obviously, but you felt like, all right, this is it. This is a World Series team. Like, they are playing great. You got guys like Bryson Stott, just coming up huge in the playoffs at home. You really got the feeling that they were never going to lose a game at Citizens Bank Park, which they, of course, did in Games 6 and 7 of the ALLCITY. But before that...
What was that?
Nothing. No, they definitely didn't lose Game 6 and 7 of the NLCS at home. But before that, like, the Bryson Stott moment to me was the coolest of the season.
Man... It was cool. It would have been cool if I got to witness it as well. We talked about it yesterday because Tyler and I were talking about special things that have happened for Phillies on their birthdays.
Oh,
and
it was
Bryson
his
Stott's
birthday,
Grand
right?
Slam was 2 days before his birthday, so I included that as one of the... I mean, listen, 2 days is close enough, but to hit a Grand Slam 2 days before your birthday is great. It's even greater if you can witness it in person. I was technically there in person.
Where were you?
I was in the bathroom. Yep. I remember very vividly, actually. I was in the bathroom, still in stall, not even washing my hands.
Ayo, okay.
I heard AOK. I was trying to run to the bathroom, and I heard...
It was...
And then people were in the bathroom cheering. I couldn't even cheer with the people in the bathroom because I was still in stall.
That's tough, Renee.
Sticking
That
bladder
was
gets me every freaking time.
it's just my favorite moment of the season.
That's like a best moment of like life.
You were peeing in Citizens Bank.
It's all right, Jamie. We shared it together. Me, you, and Charlie.
Yeah.
I shared it with the toilet paper roll and the stall
random
wall.
person in the
Tyler
stall
and Charlie
next to you.
O'Connor will always have that memory. Renee, wish you were there.
I wish I was at least at the concession stand. Like,
getting a beer would have been cooler.
So many things, so many places I could have been at Citizens Bank Park. Any other place but the bathroom would have been cool. But yep, queen of the potty I am. I was in the bathroom thinking like, okay, let me quickly run to the restroom. And little did I know.
Yeah.
It's fine, guys. Everything's fine.
It was cool because like the stadium was singing AOK, and then it was first pitch, right? Off of a lefty pitcher. I
don't even think the song
Everybody
had
was still
ended.
singing.
Yeah, like it literally was like the crowd was still singing.
It was off
pitch was thrown.
Tanner Scott, right?
Yeah.
I think that's who it was.
And gone. That was cool, Renee. All right, what's yours?
I had waited so long too.
Yeah,
I remember
that's a
forcing
shame.
myself to go bathroom. I know Lisa doesn't go during games. I try not to, but yeah.
NLDS.
I was.
Grand Slams don't happen all the time. That was a fun one.
No, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I did have another great moment in the NLDS. This is my number one. It's got to be the Attaboy Harper. It's game 3.
That was pretty cool.
It's in that moment, we all believed the Phillies were capable.
You dumb bastard, Arcia.
We all believed the Phillies are capable of absolutely anything and everything possible. So obviously it was after, as you mentioned, Orlando Arcia's taunting of, oh my gosh. That scared me.
My bad. I was looking for the video to see who it was.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I think it was Tanner Scott, but apparently...
Of which video?
Bryson Stott's Grand Slam.
I don't know. I don't
Remember
have
that
video of
moment,
it. I remember seeing it on video as if I wasn't there in person, but it's fine. So after Orlando Arcia made those comments, obviously then we know Bryce Harper comes out, hits 2 homers. The Phillies hit 6 homers. They beat the Braves 10-2. It was electric. It was the moment that we took over the NLDS. And in that game, everything went right. You saw Aaron Nola. He went 6 2/3 innings of just 1 run, 9 strikeouts. You saw then also Orion Kerkering, Michael Lorenzen, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Matt Strom, they all came in the final 3 2/3 innings, gave up 4 hits, no earned runs. Everything was going right. Bryce Harper was doing the stare down of the iconic moment.
I have a shirt of that moment.
And it was when we really, Bryce had 2 homers, Trey had a home run, a solo homer in the 6th. Nick had 1. Brandon Marsh had his 3rd hit of the night. He went back to back. I mean, it was fun. It was electric. It was exciting. We thought the Phillies were going to win it all because they silenced the Braves. And of course, going into the NLDS, we were like, okay, this is a chance to beat the Braves again in the playoffs. And that was the game that obviously catapulted them to knock the Braves off again to head to the NLCS. It felt like everything was right until it wasn't. Yep. And so that was probably my best moment because that was probably like my last major moment when I really look back. That naive me was all excited thinking this team is going to win the World Series this year.
Yeah.
So I can't say anything about the NLCS. I don't care about the first 2 games. I don't care how strong it started because of the fact that it all went downhill so fast. So the NLDS Game 3, October 11th, 2023, Attaboy Harper, hands down the peak moment, in my opinion, of the 2023 season where everything that we saw prior, Orion Kerkering's debut, Bryson's Grand Slam, regardless of where you were at the time, Bryce Harper's return, Trey Turner's standing ovation, everything we saw came together in that moment, and then it all fell apart.
This is just making me think that they actually lost to the Diamondbacks in Game 6 and 7. Like, those 2 moments alone, the Attaboy and the Grand Slam, should have been catalyst to another World Series.